What's up, guys? In this video, I'm just going to be breaking down some pretty crazy numbers that we just hit for one of our recent clients. We started working with them April 16th. And so I'm just going to be breaking down what we were able to hit in that first 30 days of us working together. So we spent $4,600 on Meta and we're able to make $615,000 back in closed revenue. And so I'm just going to go over kind of where we started before we launched this new system, what we implemented, and some of the results and how we got there. So let's dive into the numbers first. The exact amount spent, $4,664.96. We were able to generate $615,000 in revenue. And so ROAS, pretty crazy, 131.8x ROAS. But if we actually look at just the metrics a little deeper, so we have our ad spend. We were able to get 31 leads. And I'll talk a little bit more about the custom conversions that we set up, but about $150 cost per lead. And then as far as like actual qualified estimates, we're able to get 12 of those from those 31 leads. And so we're able to say around 39% of the leads were like qualified leads that led to estimates. And so our cost per qualified estimate was around $390, so $388.75. And then our closed deals, we're able to close 6 of these 31 leads so far. And so 50% of the qualified estimates actually led to closes. And so, yeah. And then again, we have our revenue. And so our average deal value is $102,500. And this is perfect. I'll kind of get into our target ranges and what we were discussing before we actually went live with all these things here shortly. And then just to speak on our efficiency very quickly, like obviously we have our $150 cost per lead, $388 cost per qualified estimate. Our CAC is $777, and again, just a really, really crazy ROAS. This funnel was absolutely printing money, and so I want to start off with just kind of like where things started. So I got connected with this business, I want to say mid-March, and we started having conversations from there, and then we ended up actually working together later in April. But when we first connected, they had an agency that was running their Meta ads, and they had $0 generated on about $2,000 spent. And so that was the very first thing that I noticed. I did an audit of the ad account and just kind of looked over everything, and there were just some very glaring mistakes with kind of their pixel and conversion setup that was definitely accounting for the why they're not getting any closes from those ads that we're running. One thing I did know, like their conversion events, they they were just all messed up. Like they were only optimizing for page views, which that doesn't really work as well as optimizing for an actual event. And so there are a ton of different things that weren't really working there. And then the biggest thing that was kind of crazy, that like this is a pretty large company, they're an 8-figure company, but they had no attribution tracking. And so these were just 3 key things that I noticed right off the bat that I'm like, okay, we 100% have to fix this. We can't move forward with anything until we get these things fixed. And then from there, what we did is basically we moved into I like to call them a financial modeling session, and just we sat down. I sat down with the owner of the business, and I just wanted to really understand their numbers and kind of where they're wanting to go. And then that way, it just makes it really easy for us to kind of reverse engineer things and work backwards to hit those goals. And so we were able to discover their average ticket size was a little over $90,000. A lot of their estimates we later figured out were like coming from referrals, and so obviously close rates are going to be high. They were closing about 80% of those. They were getting around 11 monthly qualified leads and about 9 new clients per month. And we were able to identify just by kind of looking through their CRM and just putting some numbers together that their typical sales cycle was going to be 24 days. And so then it just came down. Sorry, I keep coughing. I don't know why. Then it just came down to what numbers are we actually wanting to hit. And so they were consistently doing around 700K a month in revenue. 1.1 million was the monthly target. And so obviously, yeah, we overshot. We we did more than enough to get to this number. We needed to add around 400K. We added 615K. So yeah, that's great there. And then so basically what we did, I realized a big focus was going to be our actual ad creatives itself. And so we pretty much killed the entire old approach with their ads that were previously running. So one thing I noticed, they were doing some very heavy detailed targeting in within like the actual ad set. And that's just not really the best practice with Andromeda right now. And I'll kind of explain that too. And they were also running a lot of awareness ads, which there's no true conversion event there. And then a lot of their creatives, they were all static. Literally every creative was static, and they were wordless. It was just pictures, very minimal copy, and so I wanted to scrap everything. And so what we did was we switched to pretty much all video ads. I did layer in some static ads that had like a headline, subheadline, and call to action, just so that we can get some creative variation there. But video ads carried us most of the way, and our big focus was just speaking directly to our ICP. The whole entire language, it needed to be built for luxury, high ticket clients that are able to afford $90,000 or more. When you're selling, they do luxury remodels, and so there's just going to be a big difference between the typical remodel of someone who's looking to spend maybe $10,000 and someone who is going to spend 90,000, 100,000 more. The language is different, the messaging is different, and so we had to really just play around that. And so one thing we really focused a ton on was identity-based messaging. And so just people who they know they have what some might consider a dream home, and they want to transform it even more and just make it fit their lifestyle. We talked a ton about lifestyle and just how your home should be a reflection of who you are. This was like one of the key angles. And it's crazy. We got a lot of feedback from like people who actually ended up closing, and a lot of them, they spoke about the ad and were like, I felt like you were speaking directly to me, and that's exactly what we want. One thing that we did try, that it was kind of a bold move, and I was curious how it would work, and it has really, really well. We called out professions. Like basically I went through their CRM. I was listening to calls, and I was trying to figure out like, okay, are these people giving us any details that we can use to go get more of them? And basically I would listen to a few calls, and I was able to find like, okay, some of these people are surgeons, some of these people are business owners. Why don't we just speak directly to them on these ads, so that then clearly these are people who are probably going to be able to afford their services a little more than just like the typical person. And so yeah, we have ads calling out surgeons, we have ads calling out business owners, CEOs, execs, and that is another thing that it's worked really, really well. I think two of the closed jobs actually, they were surgeons, and so again, this stuff is really, really working. And then we did all broad targeting. The only thing we like targeted was locations, obviously. But yeah, no detailed targeting, no interests, no behavioral stuff. We just went broad, and this is just, if you understand Andromeda and how it works now, like your ad creative itself is going to do the targeting for you. It's less on the like detailed type of stuff. And so yeah, we just ran everything broad and let our algorithm work. And then I know I mentioned earlier, a big problem before we kind of implemented everything was their conversion events. We optimized only for confirmation page visits, just so like these are people who are actually making it through our entire funnel, and that allowed us to get a lot higher quality of leads through, and like some pretty serious people. And so that's kind of where all this went. And so if we actually look at the funnel itself. Basically, we have all of our different ad creatives. And so basically with the way Andromeda works, the messaging in your videos is going to create like its own little pocket audience. And so each of these boxes right here, these are meant to represent videos. I didn't feel like drawing or adding a bunch of videos and stuff. But basically each video is speaking directly to its own ICP. And so we have these videos, all these different videos, all these different ad creatives that are each meant to hit a different audience segment. Okay. And so that is like the very start of the funnel. People are going to see this ad. And then from there, if they are someone who they feel pulled by our ad creative, we're sending them to our landing page. Let me zoom out a bit. So this is the headline we went with. I just put it right from the landing page. The home you have been envisioning is closer than you think. Again, we are focused a ton just on luxury lifestyle, identity-based messaging. And so, like that's been the entire focus for everything we're doing. We want people who are like, oh, this is speaking to me. I have a really nice home. I kind of have a little bit of money that I can spend to turn this into my dream home. That's our entire focus here. And so we call them to book their consultation below. Immediately, we have a survey. We use GHL for everything. And so we have a survey within GHL, and it's going to ask them what needs to be remodeled, so they can choose between kitchen, bathroom, basement, whole house, or they can choose multiple. And then as soon as they click their options, it's going to take them to get their phone number, name, all that information that we're going to need, zip code, whatever. Okay. And so then right underneath that, and I kind of swapped this. I know in a lot of like info businesses, typically the VSL is going to be at the very top. I just went reverse for I found it was working better for us. And so we have the VSL actually underneath the form. And so for people who maybe want to hear a little bit more information, we direct them to watch this video sales letter, and it's the owner of the business. And again, the entire VSL is just identity-based messaging, trying to pull in those people who are going to resonate with it. And then from there, we just have some body text, some different segments, and but landing page very conversion optimized. Like as soon as you get to the page, you're going to see the form, and conversion rate looking very, very good there. And so say someone, they fill out the form, they make it through our funnel, they hit our confirmation page. So first thing I'll say is that's going to be a conversion, because that's the only event that we are optimizing for. And then we have your experience starts now. And so we're telling them to watch this short video below to see what happens next. And this is basically us just front loading them with information and value and letting them know what to expect within our process. And so this is us telling them that a team member is going to be reaching out soon to get their estimate scheduled. This is us giving them information about what this estimate is actually going to entail. And then from there, we're going to tell them like what actually happens after the estimate, and then so on. And so we just want to give them all this information that we can kind of pre-frame and start selling before we actually get into the true sales motion. And then on that page, we're also going to have client testimonials. We just pull these straight from their Google business profile. And then we also have a gallery that's showing some of our more high-end projects. And basically we're using this entire page right here to just kind of take control of the frame, kind of let people know, like, hey, you made a good decision, like you're in the right place. We are the team that's going to be there to help you. I forgot to mention in this VSL right here on the confirmation page, we're talking a ton about our team, and like we're really hitting on the fact that like everyone is in-house, and so there's no subcontracting. Like these are things that are going to be really important for someone who is going to spend close to six figures or upper six figures on a house project. Okay. And so then from there, we go into our automations. And so let me zoom in a bit, as soon as someone fills out the form and like they get to the confirmation page and everything, they're going to get an automated message. It's going to say, hey, this is the team. We just received your project type and consultation request, and we're excited to connect. This is getting sent out immediately. And basically we have it to where it's conditional. And so if they choose kitchen, this is going to say kitchen. If they choose bathroom, this will say bathroom. And then we have another message that's going to be sent out 2 minutes after that says, in the meantime, take a look at some of our recent project type remodel work and use the tabs to filter by project. And then we actually link the website. And this is literally 2 minutes after we send this first message, and we're just trying to engage the lead right away. And basically, one of the reasons why we wanted to make sure that it was going to be like personalized to their actual project is because some people they do think this is like a real person, and so they'll actually engage in the conversation and they'll start sending pictures of like what they want, asking if we can help them with this. And we found that that works really really well, and then it also gives our team time to get to them fast. And so then that takes me to the next thing. Speed to lead, obviously super important. We have it to where it's set up in our CRM. We have automation for an internal ping where the team members that are in charge of handling leads, they're going to get notified right away. It's going to send a text to their phone, and it's also going to send them a notification in our GHL app. And we really focus on trying to get to our leads in 5 minutes or less so that we can book that estimate. So yeah, that's the only thing there. And then we go into our like actual, we have a bunch of VSLs. Like one thing that we are really, really focused on is VSLs through multiple stages of our process. And so say someone they make it to the funnel, they get their estimate scheduled. As soon as they get scheduled, we're sending them a confirmation for the time that they chose, and on this confirmation they're getting sent a video sales letter that is meant to go pre-estimate. And again, this is just us pre-framing the process, so letting them know what to expect when our team member makes it there to get their estimate, and like lets them know how long it's going to be, lets them know what happens next so that they are thinking ahead already. And then from there, if it's an in scope project, like say we go to the estimate, it looks like something that'll fit kind of what we like to do, then they're going to be invited to we have a showroom for our proposal meeting. And so before that proposal meeting, boom, another VSL is being sent out. This one is really just focused around building excitement, because now they're actually going to be able to like they're going to be able to see some of the finishes. They're going to be able to touch some of the materials, see designs. And so we just want them to be super, super excited going into this meeting. So that way, again, all this is just geared towards trying to boost our conversions. And we found that it has worked really, really well. And then last thing we have is our tracking. Like I mentioned, that was a really big thing that was missing before like me and my team, we took over. And so, we implemented full attribution tracking installed. And so every lead source is now visible in our CRM. And so, yeah, we can see every lead that came from Meta. Like that's a big focus of ours. Like we want our clients to be able to know like, hey, this lead, it came from our efforts. It came from what we do, because we want people to know that like what we're doing is working for them. But the way we set it up, we also went ahead and tied all their attribution for their other lead sources as well, just so that they can have it. And I know that's been really helpful. So now we're seeing everything, the full picture. So Meta, Google Business, SEO, all of it, LSAs, Google PPC, like it's all coming together now. We're able to see it clearly, and that's actually allowing us to really make some key decisions when it comes to where we're spending money, because now we're not just throwing money in the dark. We know exactly where it's going to go. And so us implementing all this is what took us to that $615,000 in revenue generated. Now, I wanted to be clear, like this is just from Meta ads. Okay. So just from what me and my company have done, they've done more revenue from like all their other lead sources. They're a big company, very well known. So yeah, this is not their total revenue. This is just from what we did. And we did this on $4,600 spent. So yeah, that's the video. If you have any questions, you can comment them, ask them. I do audits sometimes for businesses, and if you want me to maybe check out your ad accounts, I'm trying to find. Okay, there we go. If you want me to check out your ad accounts, let me know. I'll do that, run an audit for you, kind of show you where some of these gaps are, and yeah, man, follow me on Instagram. I'll have it linked. Follow me on X. I'm really trying to grow on X a little bit more. And I'm going to be doing a lot more of these breakdowns. I'll probably do a few more of this client as well as we grow and really kind of build things. So, yeah.